Hello everyone and welcome to episode 38 of the Spawn Point podcast. Joining us as always is Andy, who is on the right hand side. Ebbie has lost her place in the bottom right hand corner and has moved to the left to make a room for Kinross, who is our special guest for this episode.
I thought I was in the bottom left.
You're bottom right. You've been moved. You've been adjusted. So today we're going to be talking about Splatoon and our first impressions of it. We've all played the Global Test Fire demo they did, which is you had to play at certain times on the Friday and Saturday that have just passed last week. And Ebbie and Andy, I believe, got up at 4 a.m. to play it.
I would like to explain.
I'd like to point out I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning with the intention of playing with them, and then fell back asleep.
I couldn't play at any other time, so yeah, that was literally the only time I could play it. So to actually be relevant for this, so that's why I got up. And Ebbie got up just to keep me company.
Because I'm the best person ever. Clearly,
I tried, I tried, and I thought Andy's not worth it.
So we all did play it, but before we talk about Splatoon, it's worth mentioning that our giveaway that we've been talking about for the last few weeks is still running. You've got until the 25th of May to enter, and you might as well, because you can get a free Minecraft server for life for it. So there's 9 different ways to enter. You go to the page, retrogaming.co.uk/giveaway. It's pretty straightforward from there. You can log in with Facebook, Twitter, or just your email, and you just have to do whatever's listed on there, and you can gain as many entries as you want. But yeah, Splatoon. So, I guess you played it, you both played it at 4 a.m. Kinross tried to play at 4 a.m., but that wasn't successful.
I don't think try wasn't a relevant word there.
I got out of bed.
It was.
I got out of bed.
But how much did you actually, like, all of you play of the demo? Like, because there's only certain set times. There
were 3 set times. I played all 3.
Okay.
Kinross played 2. And I think you both played 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ebbie's played 3 hours. I've played 2.
Although me and Andy had played it at EGX before, but that was only for like one extra match. So
for 3 minutes.
Probably like another 3 minutes.
Probably what?
Yeah, 1 hour and 3 minutes, very precise. But what did you all think of the game? Like, first impression straight off the bat when you started up the game. What did you think of it?
They had that song, the song with the like Inklings singing. Fucking love that song. It's so good. It's like one of my favourite video game songs ever, and the game's not even out yet.
The problem is you can't like sing it. If someone says sing your favourite video game song,
you have to go. Yep.
Yeah, sounds awful.
Fairly good rendition.
But yeah, so immediately I'm like, well, this is a demo, and it's got that song on, and the image is really pretty. I'm impressed already. Not even started the game, because it's not time yet.
How interested were you about Splatoon beforehand, though? Like,
Well, I'd already pre-ordered it, so
Oh, okay.
I pre-ordered it because I wanted to make sure I got hold of the amiibos. I was still sort of iffy about whether I would actually want to own the game, even though everyone else thinks that I was definitely going to buy it always.
I knew you were, because you're like, oh, a Nintendo game, pre-ordered that.
It's worth pointing out, apparently, I looked up recently that Splatoon is the best-selling Nintendo game on Amazon, or best-selling Wii U game on Amazon. And it hasn't even come out yet. Which is quite impressive for a new IP.
Is that since the demo, or just since it went up for pre-order?
I think it might have been after the demo, but I can't say entirely. I just remember, like, within like the last week or so, there were articles about it, which is quite a big deal when you consider there's games like existing IPs that like we talked about in a previous episode about why people buy games, and a lot of the reason was that it's part of an existing IP, it's a continuation. But this is a new IP, so for it to that suggests it's doing really well pre-release on pre-orders. And it's a new IP that Nintendo obviously thought they'd kind of taking big risks with, because they usually stick to their like existing IPs, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say about Nintendo, like, oh, they always rehash the same thing. Nintendo have a lot of IPs, I feel like. Specifically, they have companies that they own that make really different IPs. Like, I think they own the people who made Xenoblade. Was it Monolith? Don't know if that's
Sounds about
right. So I feel like they do more varied stuff than people give them credit for, but I like the fact that this one's being brought forward a little bit more, and people are making a really big deal about it, basically.
I think when people talk about Nintendo rehashing stuff, it's like core Nintendo
Mario and Zelda.
just makes
basically.
Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon, even though that's not Nintendo at all. But
I guess it kind of, if you think that people that don't have a Wii U or 3DS or any Nintendo products, the things that they're going to see fly by are going to be the biggest games, which do tend to be Mario, Zelda. They obviously sell well because people are familiar with those characters and they like those characters. So people see that and go, oh, that just must be it. That must be all of it. But sort of
I just want to put that out there.
Yeah,
Don't be writing Nintendo off for having 2 IPs when they have like 50. Just putting that out
and they
there.
got 3. They got 3 whole IPs.
So
Yeah.
this is a brand new IP. This was the first time people could play it, not like publicly, not at a convention anywhere. But yeah, so what, did you enjoy what you played of it? Was there any kind of things that annoyed you? Just, general stuff. Really?
I was amazed because it's no secret that Nintendo's online services aren't the most stable of things. Like Mario Kart and Smash are very prone to lag, and that makes things
Disconnection
unplayable.
entirely. pretty much.
Disconnections. Aside from one disconnect and a little bit of lag in regards to a roller not registering the paint on the ground, I think it's the most stable online I've ever had on a Nintendo thing. I don't know.
I had a
whether-
couple of times where I'd been killed by an invisible person.
Yeah.
Because they were moving around on screen, I could see the paint going down, but I couldn't see the person who had killed me.
Mhm.
You know how when you get killed by someone, it like shows off the character that killed you or whatever. No one there, so I was like,
Did any of you ever get where you were trying to find a game, and then after a few games, it would say couldn't connect to partner's device or something?
Yeah,
And it would have like a.
Yes,
in the first one, I was there for about 5 minutes, just trying to connect to a game. And it's like, could not connect to partner's device. And I, for fuck's sake, try again. Could not connect. And it did this for around 5 minutes, and that was the only issue I had in the whole sort of hour session. I didn't have any lag or anything when I was in the games. It was fine.
I had a couple of couldn't connect to partner's device or whatever. And I also had one that said game room is full, please try again.
Oh.
Which was really weird because it came up like the normal error messages do. And I just thought that was really strange. That was the weirdest one I had. But I had maybe 3 disconnects the entire time I was playing, and that was over 3 hours. Bit of lag. Other than that, it was pretty much perfect.
I mean, when you look at it at the perspective of you disconnected 3 times in 3 hours,
It's not
that's
that
one
bad.
an hour. That sounds kind of bad, but then you think, well,
Considering it was a stress test,
yes.
so everyone was piling on all at once.
But I
I'm
mean,
impressed.
if we look at stuff previously, like other games have done these sort of stress tests.
Can I point out Evolve as one prime example?
Evolve, yeah, they did their stress test and that worked perfectly okay. And then when
Did
it
it
comes
though? Because we were waiting in a lobby
actually,
for like
no,
2
no,
hours.
It didn't, did it?
No.
Okay, that one was horrible. But
And PS4 couldn't even have it for some reason. Like it had to be delayed or something.
yeah,
The
they got
Elder
delayed
Scrolls
for a day.
Online had a stress test as well.
But like previous, some other, I can't think of what the games are now, but some other have had stress tests, and then when they've actually launched, they've just had terrible issues with people being able to connect and everything. So just because it works fine now doesn't necessarily mean that when it releases, everything will be okay, because there's going to be potentially more people. If it's the most pre-ordered game that Nintendo have had, then there's going to be potentially more people jumping on than there was in the stress test.
But the thing is, it's going to be over like a 24-hour span rather than a 3-hour span in a 24-hour time window. So it's not going to be all at once.
But if what was it? Blizzard game, Diablo 3. Blizzard, I mean, they've got WoW and stuff like that, and they couldn't even get an online launch.
Yeah, but that's
sorted
Diablo
properly.
3. Not everybody.
But still, it's a fairly big game, so they should be expecting a lot of server strain.
I think the purpose primarily of the stress test was to see not whether the system could handle people being on it, but just the sudden 0 to however many people partook
Yeah, just
Like
suddenly
that
all
initial
jumping
like
on at
midnight
once, yeah.
launch, everyone goes on at once, does it all fall apart at once. Answer.
Because if you've got a demo that is always playable, I kind of thought when they first said about global test fire at certain times, I thought, well, can't we just have one that we can like some of the Wii U games you can launch a certain number of times.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought it actually makes a lot of sense to have set times because they want to see the sudden jump. Because the first day of a game can sometimes, or like the first week of a game can ruin the reputation of that game. Like I use an example of Halo Master Chief Collection where the servers wouldn't work for ages because they just had so many problems and patching, and people even months down the line they were saying, the game was ruined because it didn't work at launch, and they're trying to avoid stuff like that by having it kind of recreate that whole thing of everybody jumping on at once and seeing if it can handle it, rather than if you have it playable all the time, then people might say, I won't come on at this time, I'll just play it in a few days, and it might just always be a very medium sort of player base rather than...
And of course it's a multiplayer primarily thing, so it would suck if you jump into the demo and there's only 3 other people playing it. You're like,
Tell you one thing I was disappointed about with the demo is the fact that I specifically got up to play Splatoon with Andy, and there was 0 playing games with friends in the demo.
Yeah.
I understand why, because it's just going to be faffing about when you've only got an hour, all that sort of stuff. I get it. But it was really disappointing that I got up at 4 a.m. to play Splatoon with the person who I couldn't play Splatoon with.
But saying that, you say you understand that like there's going to be faffing about, and yeah, I agree with you there. But they still let you do the tutorial in that hour time. They could have quite easily done. Hey, you know what?
That kind of annoyed me because every time I started up the demo, it would start that tutorial.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you know what? You could just have this tutorial on.
You could skip it. To be fair,
in the times.
Can I just say another thing about launching the game every time? Every time, because I was having that partner could not connect to partner's device. So I exited, when I had it, it was always like, I couldn't connect for 5 minutes and the rest of the time it was fine. It wasn't like every now and again, it was just all at the same time and then it would work perfectly for a long time. So I kind of exited the game to see if that would help improve things because it was happening for a few minutes. And I wasn't having any luck. And then when I loaded it up again, I was like, oh, cool, I found a game. I was like, hang on a minute, it's using the motion controls again. Oh, it switched them back on. And it was like, don't default to motion controls. Like, that kind of annoyed me.
I think as soon as the game actually releases and you can have like a save state, that's not going to be an issue.
Yeah,
it was a bit annoying.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh god, I forgot to turn the motion controls off. I've got to play this game with motion controls on.
I just feel like motion controls should be turned off by default on that, rather than...
But then no one would use them, and I think they really want people to use them.
I'm gonna say...
but, I don't know. You can't force people to like something.
I didn't mind the motion controls. My issue was that it was only for up and down, and it still made you use the stick to go left and right. So you're intuitively doing the left-right with the stick, and then you also do the up-down, and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's a bit kind of confusing, because you're like, hang on, I can't...
You know what? I, as much as I didn't like the motion controls, I didn't think that the stick was as responsive as I wanted it to be. Now, I know you can change the sensitivity in it.
Do you want to tell your story about changing the sensitivity and what you did?
What did you do?
So in the Crossfire demo, what you could only change the control setup before a match. So before you picked your weapon, before you go into the match. And I was like, I really don't like this, so I inverted one of the axes and played a match. And then I was like, no, I need to uninvert it, and I accidentally inverted the other axis. So I was in a whole match for 3 minutes just going, right, I want to go left, it's going right, I want to go up, it's going down, like... So I was the worst player in that match, and I couldn't change it because the only time you could change a bloody inversion was on the main menu.
Did you find yourself pressing start to try and pause the game to change the settings?
Yeah.
Because I did that, I was like, does that...
I played 4 games before I
that,
realised that you could only do it from the gun select screen.
It took us a while. I think it took us like half an hour.
And I mean, I hope when they bring out the actual game that they do let you do that. I mean, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't, because stuff like sensitivity.
Stop people pausing in the middle of a game where you're going to get shot at.
Like every other game, every other online game lets you do that. With sensitivity, like I feel like you need to. If there's about 10 different sensitivity settings, that's like 10 matches that you're going to be faffing about with sensitivity. Like,
I think there's actually 20 because it goes
20
0.5 increments. Like my sensitivity was plus 0.5.
Yeah. It was
That is
like
a
plus.
lot.
It's
Can we
5
talk about
inches.
the real interesting stuff on this?
Yeah, let's move on from sensitivity and all this sort of technical stuff, and let's talk about
Sensitive issue.
when we actually got to play in the game, and we were actually, we weren't faffing about with the controls. When we were going, pew pew with the ink gun. When we were doing that, did we actually, did you enjoy it? Did you have fun with it? Were you playing it much like just on your own, or did you was there any teamwork? I know there's no voice chat, but did you ever kind of work as a team, or was there instances where you were naturally because
I was playing as the roller most of the time, and one guy realised that I was getting killed quite a lot, so he followed me around the map for a little bit and tried to defend me as I was painting the ground. That was kind of cool. But that was pretty much it, because everyone else was just like, I'm doing me. I'm doing what I do. It's me.
I just gotta cover the ground, okay? Don't know why they talk like
They
this.
didn't even do that. Most
Yeah,
people focused on
I
the
noticed that a lot
killing.
of people were going for the kills rather than covering the ground, which is
I wonder-
not really ideal. It's not what you're supposed to do, because the idea of the game is you have to cover as much ground as possible. It's not about how many kills you get. You just get, maybe more points, I think.
I would kill people, but only if it came, if they were near me and it made sense to take them out. Or if I had if the opportunity presented itself, but I wouldn't go looking for people specifically.
We did have a moment on my team where nearly everybody had been wiped out, and one of the rollers on the opposite team decided to point their special weapon directly at spawn.
Oh. Yeah, there was a lot of spawn
Yeah,
killing,
right.
wasn't there? I had a case of where we had two people camping at where we spawned, and they were just they were using the splatter shot, I think, and just shooting up to where our spawn was. So I was like, right, I just got the roller out and just kind of got around and went,
There is a shield around spawn, so if you stay in that little pool in spawn, you can't get killed. You only get killed when you leave that pool.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's
Because
that's
I
quite
saw-
That would have been
I was-
helpful to know
I went to
before I was
kill-
trying to run away from the killer.
They still kind of waited just where the boundary was, though, right where I think because the issue is because you know exactly where people are going to spawn every time they die, you can kind of take advantage of that. If you see other shooter games, the spawning is random. If
I
you
think
could
that's
imagine,
what Super Jump is for, though. That people
Oh,
always spawn
yeah.
there, and you can't kill them there, but they can leap to pretty much anywhere on the map so long as someone else is there.
you just have to rely on somebody else to not be trapped as well.
The problem is as well that it does indicate on the ground when someone is going to land there. There's a spinny
Yeah.
circle thing, and it does it for the opposite team as well.
Yeah.
So you can be like, oh, blue guy, come on, I'm coming for you.
I
I've got
did
my
that, but it
roller."
backfired on
That's
me.
only if you're in the right place at the right time that you'd see that.
I saw that
Yeah,
though, and I was
if I ever see a same circle that is my color or whatever, I will make sure to try and defend them while they get there. But it rarely works.
I tried doing that, waiting where the person landed, and then I turned out 3 of them ganged up on me on that spot, and then I was like, oh, I failed.
Now with the sort of the whole teamwork thing, because they've decided to go against sort of the voice chat to stop the trolls. They've got up is to me and down is nice.
Nice!
Nice. Well done, chap. Nice. I found that completely useless.
Well, I didn't even notice it until you brought it up, and I was like, oh, that little thing in the corner.
If you
If
press,
someone says something and you've got the volume on your gamepad turned up, it'll make a little
Did
squid
it?
noise. It'll be like,
okay, because
so you'll know that they've said something.
generally,
But the thing is, nice isn't really a thing that you will use in the middle of the game, and to me
Nice.
it doesn't
To me?
specify
to me,
I'm safe.
To
You
you?
should come here. If you
To
want to
me?
super jump to me, could do with some
to-
ground being covered, or
Does
does
it-
it mean
does
I'm
that
in? I need help immediately. Please come and help me.
Did it
So what
make a
does it
little
mean?
speech bubble, on the
yeah? So
pad?
on
Does
the
it say, to me?
on
little
the
speech
gamepad,
you.
it just sort of says to me above it.
Does
However, because I had my gamepad muted when I was playing it, and I was looking at the screen, and not necessarily the only time I looked at the gamepad was like, "How are we doing paint-wise? Okay, we've got a lot of paint." Or "I want to super jump someone. Where is everyone?" That's the only 2 times that I looked down there. So
Yeah.
if someone was calling to me, I didn't look down there. So I didn't know anyone was potentially in trouble. So
Did
I
you
didn't
look
ever
at
use it. I thought it was fairly
the-
useless.
Did you guys look at the gamepad much, in terms of looking at the map on the gamepad, or using the super jump, or?
Yeah. When I realised that you can super jump from anywhere at any time, I was all about the gamepad. I was like, oh, this is really important. Okay.
I
Because
think
you
I
don't
only
have to
super
be
jumped
just at
twice.
spawn. super jump from anywhere where you are. So if you're in trouble and you can see someone coming towards you, you can super jump away.
But it does there is like a little charge up time.
Yeah, it's a little delay.
It's like a 2 second.
If you can get into cover for like 2 seconds while you go away.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking about like using it as like, can you use that to jump out of the way? But I didn't have enough time to really practice with that.
On the basis of teamwork, there was a case where somebody was using the roller, and they just kind of went they were going along in a path towards like the enemy's sort of base area, and I was the squid, and I was following behind them under the ink, so that people didn't know I was with him. And then when someone came to like, obviously we weren't talking to each other, it just sort of happened naturally. Like he was doing that, I went, oh, I got, and he realised that, so he keeps going. I was like following behind him, and then someone came to sort of like, two people came to team up on him, and I popped out of the ink, and I was like, even.
Just to double check, you do know that you can be seen swimming, yes?
Yeah, but it's not as noticeable as...
no one's going to notice you if you're following a guy with a massive roller.
People can look at the guy in the massive roller, like, they're not going to see a little,
And also I found that you could almost camp, like, pretend to be like a little, like, the limpet creature or something, and just duck under the paint, and then when they come across, just like, surprise, cockfag! Kill them with the roller.
And that is why there is no voice chat in the game.
Don't want that on one of the directional buttons.
However, if the enemy team get their paint where you are, then you're screwed.
So, on the topic of rollers and all the different weapons...
Rollers aren't OP. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say...
They're actually not.
spend... it's going back a bit, but on the topic of spending time killing people rather than painting, I wonder how many people did it like I was doing, which was to kill people for the practice of working out how the guns actually worked and what their range actually was, so that you're not killing yourself all the time. So you're trying to kill people so that you can get an idea of what the limitations on that actually are. So you can actually kill the roller guys.
Yeah, so we had... there's 3 different categories. There is the roller, the shooter, and the charger. And they all have kind of like, that's the categories, and there's different guns that fit in between them. Although the roller only has the splat roller and the dynamo roller. Whereas like the shooter has like 5. But what was your favourite weapon of choice? Did you try them all out, and did you have a...
Roller. Right, let me have this talk with you. I suck at shooters real bad. The only one that I'm remotely good at is Fallout 3 because it has bats. I'm really bad at shooters. Yeah, I'm really bad at shooters. The closest thing to a shooter that I am alright at is Saints Row 3. I don't know if that counts.
It's not.
You are going to have...
No, the fact that I could choose a weapon that didn't require me to do a bunch of aiming and, like, try and figure that out in that hour was nice. And the fact that if I still suck at the shooting when the game comes out and I can still use the roller, that makes me real happy. Like, I can actually play the game.
You are probably going to have to get at least mildly competent with a gun so that you don't give up the game forever because you can't kill people with a roller anymore and you're just constantly being sniped from across the map.
I don't know. I feel like because we can all, if say for example we all play a game, and we're chatting over Skype because Nintendo still feel like it's not a good idea to put voice chat.
Can I just say if we're all playing on the same team, because you have the mandatory shuffle where we can't all say we would like to be a team. We've been planning our strategy of how we're going to win every game. Because we can just be random.
You can in August. You can
in August
in the big August.
We have to wait for August.
So when August finally comes around,
it's getting close,
and we get to play in a team. I feel like that Ebbie can do a roller.
I said this. You can assign weapons to people. Like, you can be the sniper. You two can be the people with the shooters.
Or you could have.
You could be quite effective because the roller manages to cover the map fairly the most effectively because you can just cover a shitload of the map in time in the time period, and then you just have like your someone with a sniper rifle just to for that range to kill everyone off to protect the roller, and then a couple of guys with like splat guns just to to help
Or
on flanks and
you
stuff.
could even have like, okay, we'll have 2 rollers, but one of them's going to have the dynamo one and just be like the tank and just roll in there, and the other person's going to be support. You could like have people using the same categories but different types of weapons in those, and obviously then there's the whole kind of door bursts open when you've got sub weapons, special weapons, gear abilities, and you know how you customize that. But
and it kind
I
of
would
goes.
like to point out that the roller's sub-weapon is pants. It's so bad.
is that just the thing where you flick? Oh
No,
it's
the
No, you can do
sub-weapon
that.
is like this little bomb that has a suction
suction
pad on
bombs.
it.
Yeah, it's the sticky bomb.
They were quite
But
good.
you
I
can
thought.
only fire one before having to go back in the ink because it takes up about 3/4 of
Although
your ink.
there is you can select I think all the sub weapons can be used with all of any of the main weapons.
No,
I
they
don't
can't.
think they can.
Oh right.
Because you buy it when you unlock something in the game, you unlock a set of things and you can't mix and match them, which makes it so that you can't have like
It's like an OP.
super
like,
good, like roller, got seeker,
Because I was just going to suggest that if you could have
There's a roller
the
seeker
burst
as well.
bomb, obviously I don't think you could play with the burst bomb from what was available, but it was in the direct they showed it. It was the one that it's basically like you chuck it and as soon as it makes contact with something, it explodes. So if you chuck it at an enemy,
Right.
as soon as it doesn't, it's not a suction bomb where it lands.
The
you have
one
to
that
wait a
blows
little
up in
bit.
midair.
No, it's like as soon as it touches an enemy, it goes
Claymore or something.
No, that's the ink mine, which is like you put it on the ground and it.
I want that ink mine. That looks like the best one of all.
But the burst bomb is basically this like sort of, bubble when you throw it, and then as soon as it hits them, it just explodes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I remember that one.
I don't think it was in the actual test fire event. It was more on the.
I don't remember it in the direct.
Oh, they
No,
they
it wasn't.
did so much though. They covered
Yeah.
so much in a short space of time in that.
So, like, I know Ebbie sort of said that her favourite one was the roller.
Yeah.
And I'm fed up of people saying that they're super OP because they're not. You die
They
so
definitely have-
easily.
Yeah.
You can
And
take out-
rollers, if 2 rollers do this, they both
yeah.
both explode.
And also, splatter shots can quite easily take on a roller. If you have a splatter shot or a shooter, you can quite easily.
If you're mildly competent with it.
Yeah.
I had
The thing
a
is,
beautiful moment.
everyone sucked to begin with. So the
Yeah,
rollers
I had
were
this-
OP.
I had this beautiful moment in, I think it was the first match when I was playing with Andy, like the first round, where I was going up against this roller. We were both looking at each other. We knew that we were going to kill each other and it was going to be totally worth it. So we just started charging at each other. It was that moment. And then as we got towards each other, both of us ran out of ink, so we were just running at each other, like hitting each other like that, and nothing was happening. I remember that. It was my favourite moment from the entire thing, because we knew we were going to take each other out. We were like, yes, this is how it happens. Oh man.
I remember hearing that. It was amazing.
But yeah, Andy, what's your weapon of choice? What's your favourite? Actually, let's say what are your favourites and least favourites? So Ebbie's favourite is the roller.
Oh, my least favourite is the charger.
See now, my least favourite was a shooter. I just didn't. I
Either one in
really didn't like
particular?
it.
There's the splatter shot and the splatter shot junior.
Yes,
Both-
Junior was like the
both-
SMG type.
both, to be honest. I just didn't like them, either of them. And I was kind of tied between the roller and the charger, if I'm honest. I like the roller because whatever you were saying, you don't really need to aim. You can just go, I'm just going to go out and paint a load of stuff. And then you can just go around and I wouldn't say it's the least skilled, but it's probably the easiest, like, to get.
Pickup.
I feel like you can be very aggressive with it. Like
It's the
that
entry level.
particular-
Yeah. But I quite like the charger as well because it's just like I'm gonna sit back here and just try because I like the sniper classes generally. And it's like I can pretend to be one of them almost.
Although I thought with the splat charger, I think it was a splat charger, the range didn't seem overly impressive from what I remember.
No.
There
It was very
definitely-
short.
There was definitely a scenario where there was 2 of us. We were on opposing sort of platforms, and we were both using the chargers, but they were both out of range. So the pain was just going missing.
It's not an
Missing.
instant kill hit either, is it?
If you got it charged all the way up
All the
and
way
you,
up,
you get a direct strike on them, then it is pretty
But
much.
I just
KO.
remember it kind of getting my gun and going, "Oh, I'm going to snipe someone." Just
Yeah.
dropped his.
I feel
Yeah,
like
but-
I'm definitely gonna try more shooters and chargers out when we have like a bunch more weapons to try out, because I don't feel like the Splatter Shot Junior and Splatter Shot and Splat Charger or whatever it was, I don't feel like they were totally true to what that whole class is about. So I'm definitely gonna
Yeah.
try more things out when the
I
game actually releases and I unlock more weapons and stuff.
I think the Splatshot Junior was my least favourite out of all four of them.
I think it was my favourite.
Yeah, So your favourite, Kinross?
See, there we go. There we go. We've got our team
I can't remember
there.
which one it
Yeah.
is. It's the one that just looked like a silver box. Whichever one.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one
that's
was.
the Splatshot Junior.
Yeah,
But
I like that
we
one.
can go MLG, man.
Can I just say that
Those
it's funny
team-
that you should say Splattershot, that we've all picked different ones, because mine is just a regular Splattershot that I enjoyed the most. So we've got a layout here. We've got 2 shooters, and then we've got a roller. Andy, I don't know, would you be a roller or a charger?
I mean, roller or charger. We can
adapt
mix up
on
that
our
shit.
MLG.
But that was the strategy that I said: roller, charger, and 2 sort of other
It
guns.
wasn't until halfway through the second of my plays that I realised that you could fire the charger not at full. I thought it only fired
yeah.
if it was at full, and I was like, oh, I probably could have gotten a lot better with this.
I just had that wasn't a beautiful moment. It was just a funny moment where I had the charger and I was like, "Quick! There's someone in front of me!" Panic! And I just kept tapping the shoot button. It went. It just like really short. Like it was not going anywhere. It was like. It was like I was just spitting at him. I was like
firing blanks.
But it was like it wasn't even.
You're right there, Kinross.
I've realised how that sounds. I do realise. Oh, God damn it. Okay.
Just go play again.
We're going to have to replay that. In slow-mo. But
It was the motion as well, where you was like,
you get the picture, and not that kind of picture.
no,
but
you don't want to get the picture.
But it was. I feel like the more I talk, the worse it's going to get. But what was your least favourite then? Moving on from that, was it Kinross? What was your least favourite? Probably going to be
Probably the charger, but only because I didn't realise how it worked until like the last moment.
Not because of the.
Just because I didn't know that I could go. Oh no, sorry. I knew that you could go.
Oh God, that's never happened before. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It took me a while also to manage to. Like it didn't explain in the tutorial how the roller worked. So for the first couple of moments in my first game, I was like, "All right, I'm going to be the roller," and I'm just throwing ink, and I didn't know how to get it to roll because I thought that. Yeah, I was.
But could you actually change, like, on the topic of the tutorial? Could you actually change the motion? Could you turn the motion controls off before the tutorial?
You could not
So
turn it off in the tutorial.
That seems a
You
bit
could only
dumb.
do it on
Is
the
the
motion-
tutorial is there to
website.
teach you the basics,
Mhm.
yet you can't actually see what the basics are like and ease into it if you're not going to use the motion controls. I know this is only the test fire thing, but the whole point was this is the first time people are going to be playing it. Have them set up the way they're happy with it and their sensitivity and all that before they learn how to play. Because if you learn how to play with one different set of settings and then you do your first match a different set, it's not going to not be used to it.
Can we
Sorry, on a secondary note of the motion controls, I don't know, like, a lot of people don't like the idea of you having to go like that. I like that it was just like a subtle up and down
Yeah.
motion. Like, it could very easily be in spot, up, down, left, right.
Gyroscope.
It's not like 360 spinning around on the spot.
I feel like that would work better on a sofa. Like I remember us playing at EGX. Like now I played it again and using the motion controls, and it was fine while standing up and at a console there. However,
To be fair, when
playing-
we were playing the first time when I was using motion controls, I was like this. Like,
yeah, playing on a desk, I felt like it just impeded the motion of the motion controls, and I didn't like them.
So
Now-
it's because you play it in a weird place.
On the topic of
I'm using motion controls.
on the topic of motion controls, it's funny that you say that Kinross. You said that Nintendo want people to use the motion controls, but when me and Andy played at last year's EGX, it wasn't motion controls.
I
was
am
all
pretty
of
sure
them
it
were
was.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure it was. Like now,
because
I think about it.
It was in a locked position. It
No,
wasn't motion control.
No, it was on one of those
I would have
bendy
remembered.
things.
I would
It
have
was on a
remembered.
bendy thing.
I would have remembered standing there.
No,
Can we stop with the innuendos,
it
please?
doesn't need the massive motion. It's like the
Yeah.
C stick on the new 3DS. It doesn't move a lot, but
But I don't remember looking like a tit
You're gonna-
going. "Woo."
It's,
No, because it's subtle. It's just like intuitive motion is not.
Yeah. Can we
No,
talk about the maps?
I was
Yeah.
I
Which
was
ones?
gonna just talk about the super weapons quickly. I just
Okay.
wanted to talk about them quickly. Like, I thought the way of them like telling that hey, your thing's charged was actually not good enough.
I only
Right.
ever actually reached that level once.
Because like I have to say I recorded all the footage, and I when I was playing the game I was like, I've never had the super weapon. I don't understand how it's taken so long. But when I rewatched my footage because I recorded it all, I actually achieved it a lot more than I thought I did.
Didn't realise the
But
little R button in the
I
corner
didn't
saying
realise
charged.
my thing had filled up, and basically what happens is the screen sort of flashes and goes ping.
Yeah.
And that is so subtle that I didn't even notice it when I was playing.
I don't know.
You sort of like over the 3 hours that I played, I got used to just checking in the top corner and going, "Oh, I've got my special. I should probably use that."
But did you
like-
notice the fact that there's a big circle that goes ping?
I kind
I
of
did,
did
it was
notice
super
it.
distracting.
Yeah. I think I did because I was like, "Oh, what was that in the corner? Oh, it's charged."
No, it's across the whole of the screen.
Is
It
it?
is yeah. I
definitely
rewatched
used
my
it each
replay,
time.
and I was just like, "What I did? I didn't even notice that."
But yeah. Let's talk about the maps then.
Right. I played all 3 times, and there was the same 2 maps every single time I played, and I was real sad about that.
Did they not say that it was going to be only 2 maps? Like only
I don't know.
2 maps played?
I don't
I'm
know.
sure it wouldn't have been all maps because there's a lot of the ones that were covered in the direct that I don't think I think it was just.
It was 2
probably
maps.
just
It was
yeah.
Salt Spray Rig and Walleye Warehouse, I think. So it was like the super tight warehouse level, and then there was the super open
Where you
rig
can fall off.
where you can fall off, which we found out.
I gotta say that one, it kind of seemed like the map design was a kind of unfair for the people that, you have the 2 podiums, or the 2 kind of circular platforms on
Yeah.
either side. If you're on that end, it seems like because when I was looking, when you get to the end, it shows you how much the map's been covered. And I was like, it seems really unfair that the other team can cover a massive square near their spawn. Whereas if you're where the 2 circular bits are, because I thought I was doing, I don't know if you ever got that, where you thought, oh, I'm doing really well, like we must be winning. And then you're like, oh no, we did terrible.
no.
I got like 20% or something.
Yeah.
Most of the time, when I was down on that side, I'd find that the other team didn't even paint that square.
Really?
So I went over there and filled it up myself.
Yeah.
So,
I
Probably-
didn't like the Salt Spray Rig.
I preferred
No,
it to the
that
warehouse
much.
one.
I kind of preferred the warehouse one.
I think
When I got used to the warehouse one and being like, okay, we're in the warehouse, I know where I have to go. Like, there was this moment, another moment of teamwork, where there were 2 rollers, and we rolled down the middle, and then we both split off, like, either side to cover as much of that ground as we could.
Yeah.
And that was really easy, but with the Salt Spray Rig thing, it's just like, I don't know where to go. What do I do? Because I don't know where's best, to be honest. And I just would have liked to at least see another map, maybe. And I don't like how they're doing them. I get why they're doing the maps online like they are doing them, which is the maps change every 4 hours. So for that 4-hour span, it's the same 2 maps. And then after the 4 hours, it will
How
be another
many-
2 maps.
How many maps are there? Because I can't remember.
at launch
It's
5,
5.
The thing
and
is,
then every few weeks there'll be a new one.
the thing that's a
or
bit
some
disappointing about circulating every 4 hours, or what it was, 4 hours?
Yeah.
Is that if you're, okay, for example, if you're playing Mario Kart and you're going to play, if you could imagine racing on the same 2 tracks for an hour, how bored you would
That's how
get.
it was in the beginning. Everyone was choosing Mount Wario. All the
Is
goddamn
that why I
time.
hate it so much?
I hate it because it's a crap course, and because
It's
everyone
not-
kept thinking
It's a good course.
Kinross, stop it.
But what I mean is that, you know, with 2 maps that for 4 hours, it's like, well,
It's a
I can
long
see
time.
people getting bored very quickly,
It's-
and then
Well,
having
we
to
talk
come back because when people, you know, people go to work and then they come back in the evening home and they go, oh, I'm gonna play some games for the evening, but then 4 hours, they're probably not going to have more than 4 hours to actually play that evening of that game.
It
So they're gonna play
entirely depends on when the 4 hours, because it could be
Oh,
that
yeah.
it switches 2 hours into one's evening. So you can,
Yeah, but
in
I
the
think
course
the
of an
problem
evening, you'll have a
is-
choice of 4.
I
But-
think the problem is that I understand why they're doing it, so you can make choices with your weapon selection that best suit those maps. I totally get that. But I don't understand why they just wouldn't have like an extra weapon selection in the game.
I mean, I've just done some quick math here. That's,
Oh yeah, sorry, that's the other
um,
thing. You can't select weapon unless you leave the party that you're
Yeah.
in.
So if you were to play for the whole 4 hours at 5, is it 5 minutes a game or is it 3 minutes?
It's 3 minutes for Turf War, 5 minutes for Splat
Oh,
Zone.
hang on. My maths is completely wrong then.
Yeah, to start with, it'll be Turf War because regular battle's the only thing you can play to begin with, and then
There's
So-
23
so-
in an hour.
That's 40. You play if you were to play for 4 hours in a row, and you were unlucky and you started at the start of the 4 hours. That would be 40 games of the same map.
Maps plural.
No. 40 games of the same map.
So it'd be
Well,
80
assuming
of
that
both of
it
the two.
alternated between the two and that you weren't playing the
You'd
same
get
one twice.
You'd get 80 games in
Yeah.
the 4 hours.
All right,
of
here's
2
the
different maps.
question. Ebbie, you played 3 hours. Are you fed up of those maps?
No, but
No,
I
see-
did take a break in between them.
yeah,
quite
that wasn't
hefty.
consecutively in the same.
True,
I-
but
I-
But the
I
other
could've
thing
played
was,
for
I
more
always
hours.
came away from that game going, man, I'd really like to play more Splatoon. Like, I always came away from it like, man, it would be really cool. I just really wanted to see more of the maps. I really did.
I feel like that there's going to be like map fatigue. Like obviously they're going to add more maps into it, but if they're going to continue on with the same 4 hours, 2 maps rotation, I feel like there's going to be a lot of map fatigue in that time, and that is the one thing that really worries me about the game.
well, we don't, because there's that big update in August, and they've not actually said really what.
It's just about
Well,
like
there's the new
enhanced
game mode.
matchmaking.
And enhanced matchmaking. They may well change it up at that point.
Well, they also the thing that's interesting that will make it more fun in August is you can have when you play with friends you can have custom battles, so you can set different rules. And so if you had on the basis of that, if you did say us 4 played against 4 other people, there was 8 of us and we all knew each other and we played. I don't know if you could select what map you want and what rules and stuff. Because if it's going to be a private custom thing with your friends, I don't see them having the rotation thing, really. Because it's kind of free to do whatever you want.
We'll have to wait.
I
to
hope
see.
so.
I hope so.
But yeah.
But
I
I'm
don't- I
glad
don't
that they
have
are
an
adding
issue
more
with-
maps and we don't have to pay for them.
Yeah,
Free DLC is nice.
That is one thing that I feel like they're doing right about it. And I mean, to be honest, like the Mario Kart DLC thing that Nintendo did, I don't feel put off by the fact that they added in the maps at the cost that they did. I feel like it was a fair
It was
business
really
model.
fair, yeah.
I mean, it was half
Um,
a game for a quarter of the price.
Yeah.
Was it not?
Yeah.
It is quite good that, like, when they had, like, the Direct and they had, mention like free update events, as they called them, and then, like, a big August posting, there was never this mention of, oh, if you want to get this content, well, let's stamp a $5.99 price on this. Oh, you
Yeah.
want that extra gun? Well, that's going to be £2. You know, there was never any mention of that. It was kind
Well,
of...
they actually said free, which
Yeah.
I think if they were to say this is post-release content, if they hadn't said this will also be free, people would be like, oh hell.
Yeah.
Can I point
They
out
didn't-
that I really like...
They didn't pull an EA and be like, huh, microtransactions
know.
everywhere.
Season pass.
Rock versus Pop. Is that what you're going to say?
I really like the way that they're doing all these events. Like, it just seems like so homely and like festival-like in a
Oh,
way.
what with the
I just
Splatfests?
With the Splatfest, with the way that they're making like a big deal about, oh, there's going to be this big thing in August. Like, it's going to be real fun. You're going to get new maps. It's going to be great.
It
Everyone's going to have
almost-
a great time.
It almost feels as if the game is actually launching in August. Because of,
Which
like...
I'm okay with, because I get
Yeah.
to demo it for like 3 months. So I'm okay with that.
But the thing that again worries me, like with as great as it is, and it is really great that they're going, hey, we're adding all these extra features in for free in August, is the fact that it's releasing end of May, and that there could potentially be this sort of drop in player base in that time.
It does what Mario Kart did for me, because by the time I was getting bored with Mario Kart, they brought out the DLC, and I was like, I'm so invigorated, I want to play Mario Kart all the time.
Oh,
and then just when it was dropping off again, they introduced 200cc and the new maps, which I hate. So, I hate Mario Kart.
The Splatfest thing should also help reinvigorate things, because if it's like, what's it, Rock versus, like, Team Rock, Team Pop.
Rock versus Pop.
And then in the Direct they were like, there's stuff like Cat and Dog. Like, you have to sit on the team that you're...
In Europe, it's going to be Rock versus Pop. In the Americas, it's going to be Cats versus Dogs. So. And
the whole thing about that is you pick a team, and then whoever wins, you actually get rewarded if you're in the winning team. So I can see people going, let's have this Splatfest. And it's like, you've got Inkopolis as well, where you can run around. I think you can, like, socialise with other people, can't you?
Like, sort of. I think
like...
people that friends and people you fight with show up in your in Inkopolis.
And I can buy you clothes. I could be a copycat. I couldn't be like, I like those shoes.
Because Splatfest looks like this whole communal thing of like, you can run around and.
Well, it's like dailies.
Okay, I'm so excited to customise my little Inkling. I'm so excited.
You're going to visit Krusty Sean's.
Krusty Sean the Tiger.
Can I just say that I can't believe anyone thinks this. You know the guy who runs Ammo Nights, basically the gun shop?
The Sheldon.
He looks a lot like he's been stolen from Despicable Me.
Everybody says that, yeah.
He does.
It's because
when I looked at him, I was like...
He's vaguely yellow, and he's got, like, the huge eyes.
Goggle things, yeah. Similar height, and... Yeah, but...
And I would also like to point out that there is a shop called Jelly Fresh, and I love it. I'm so on board with that.
It took me the number of puns in this game I approve of. Because
it's the pun.
Bouillabaisse. It took me too long to realise that it's a French dish. It's a food. The entire home base is a food.
And the whole Direct was hosted by Dr. Seth Elopod. Perfect. Oh, God. I love puns. I'm such a pun person, so...
The graphic director, I think, was Ang Le Fish.
Yeah. Like a French name,
Ang Le Fish.
If we talk about... one thing we haven't discussed yet is about the amiibos. And about how... Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because when I was watching the Direct, I was sort of trying to, like they said in the Direct about our human brains can only take so much information. Is that you get each amiibo has 20 challenge levels.
Yes.
And each of the amiibos are not the same challenge levels for each amiibo. Each amiibo has its own separate challenge levels for it. So you can only access them if you buy an amiibo and it.
Right.
I would like to ask the question: where do you buy the amiibo separately? Nowhere. Okay, thanks Nintendo. I can only buy them in bundles with the game.
This is fucking day one paywall DLC that you can't unless you pre-order the amiibos. Like Ebbie said, you're not ever going to be able to get them.
Now,
this content that go on.
This depends entirely on whether you have to keep tapping the amiibo to play the levels. Because I will have all three. I'm just saying that now.
Because
I'm
Kinross, you've got every single amiibo ever.
I will have all three. If it's a simple case of tap and it's unlocked and that's done, then you can share it with your friends, and they can tap it and unlock it. Admittedly, you still do need to know someone who has it, but it's not impossible.
Can I just say that I do part of when we were talking about amiibos before, and I said that I don't like. Do they provide any? Like when I ask people about amiibos, they say, well, sometimes they provide a little bit of, an extra costume or something, but mostly they're just for figure collecting and just have a cool figure. I feel like what they're trying to do with this is for people, for people who criticize amiibos and say, well, there's, if you're not an avid figure collector, or you're not buying it for the physical thing. You want it to add some additional thing as well. I feel like Nintendo were trying to say, hey, not only do you get this cool looking amiibo and you can have it on your desk or whatever, but it also is going to add some content. It's going to add these 20.
Here's a thing. What if they haven't announced it yet, but August time maybe you can buy the challenge maps for a small like a microtransaction type thing that's less than the cost of an amiibo?
Yeah, I could see that kind of maybe pissing some people off. But
would it though? If you're paying for the amiibo,
you're getting it early, I
guess.
guess. Yeah. You're entitled to it because you're.
We know what
it's the
Nintendo
same
are
as,
like
like, the
with
Mewtwo
production.
thing.
This is the problem. This is the problem with Nintendo, is that they don't get how much demand there is for some of this stuff. Like, I want the Splatoon amiibo so badly, but they are, in the UK, exclusively from the Nintendo store, are only selling them in bundles with the game and a t-shirt, which is £45. There was one that sold out pretty much instantly that was £65 that came with all three, and a t-shirt and the game. And they just don't get the supply and demand thing. They still haven't made any more GameCube adapters, controller adapters. They aren't going to make any more Splatoon amiibos.
This is obviously like an irritating issue for people with the amiibos. I'm wondering if Nintendo are completely aware that there are not enough of these things, but there hasn't been enough time since, like, they launched in December time, November time. There hasn't been enough time for them to actually rebuild a big enough stock because they've just been pumping them like wave after wave.
Well, let's face it,
might
they
have
weren't
built
a big
stockpile
deal.
up in the past.
They were pretty much not a big deal to anyone until no one could get a Wii Fit Trainer or Mortal Villager, and everyone was suddenly okay, amiibos are a big deal, and I need to buy all of them instantly.
Yeah.
So
you can't. People can't win.
It's smart on in their half, isn't it?
Andy and others are going to be upset that there is stuff behind a technical paywall. But similarly, if there wasn't anything, they'd be like, well, what the hell is the point in these amiibos?
It's like either side you're going to annoy somebody. Someone's going to say, if you don't have that, people are going to say, well, amiibos are useless. It's going to be a crowd of people.
They'd rather not annoy the paying customer, really, wouldn't they? Like, people have paid for stuff, they'd rather not annoy them. So.
I would be okay if they were like, hey, you use the amiibo, and, I don't know, you get these cool outfits, or some extra skins for the weapons.
And people might be like, I don't want outfits. They might be like
something to make your the characters look cool.
But what if What if those outfits don't provide you with the certain gear ability buffs that you want?
But you can sort of buff the outfits, can't you? You can add extra.
You're getting a very rare item.
Yeah. So
you can add buff slots, but you can't choose what buff you get.
Oh, it's random, isn't it?
It's going to be really annoying when I'm like, I look so great in this Japanese
but I've got a really shitload.
But all the buffs
just
are rubs.
At least I think that's how that part of the direct took like 20 seconds. They're like, you can do this, and you visit this sea urchin guy, and you give him some seashells, and he'll do something for you. So,
tell you what, I'm looking at the list of them now. Ink Saver for a roller would be a real big deal.
Yeah,
Ink Saver for anyone would be a big deal.
But imagine if you ended up with Ink Saver sub instead, and you're like, that'd be the worst for roller. But
quick respawn would also be quite nice.
I didn't find the respawn to be that bad.
I don't know, because every time I got killed, I'd be like 20 seconds away from the end of the game, and I'd be like, no, respawn faster!
I think we should round up our sort of discussion and everything by going. We're sort of pressing on now. With just sort of going around to each of us and sort of saying whether the direct and the global demo has made us more interested in the game, whether it's got us excited about its release more, and also whether each of you are planning to. Well, if you're like Ebbie and you've already pre-ordered one. Or if you haven't and you're planning to buy the game on launch or pre-order it soon or just wait a bit maybe, like what you're going to do.
I'd like to point out I pre-ordered it like a month ago. I was ready for this game. I don't usually pre-order games unless they're from Nintendo and they come with cool t-shirts.
So Ebbie's pre-ordered it. Andy, have you pre-ordered it or are you planning to? Or
I'm planning to get it. I think I remember playing at EGX last year, and I I really enjoyed it at EGX, and I think that the concerns I have about it has probably outweighed my like everything else.
So
Like
this
the 4-hour rotation and the maps and the controls not being quite tight enough, and I think that might just be because of the sensitivity.
So has the direct and the demo reassured you more that the game might be better than expected, or?
No, I think it's confirmed it to me.
And Kinross, have you pre-ordered it? You plan to pre-order it? Are you going to buy it? Are you going to wait? Are you going to?
I have. Sorry, I didn't hear a single word Andy said. He was a robot.
It was fine for me.
I pre-ordered it when someone linked me a link to the Nintendo store where there was the 3 amiibos and a shirt. The shirt won't fit me because he linked me to the small size rather than the large. I am not a small person.
No, shotgun. I shotgun this one.
So I pre-ordered it for the reasons of I need amiibos. I need them. I was probably going to.
By
the
way, for those of you who don't know, Kinross's life is just spiraling into hell because of amiibo collecting.
Actually, how many have you actually got? Have you lost count?
I've got every single one that's come out so far. Yeah, because I got
so it's safe to say that you'll have the Splatoon ones.
Yeah, I will. So I pre-ordered it for the reasons of the amiibos. I was going to pick up the game eventually at some point anyway, but the demos definitely sort of cemented in my mind that it is something that I want to play as soon as possible, because on Sunday I loaded up my Wii U like 4 times thinking, I'm going to play some Splatoon. Oh.
Yeah, just hoping that the servers are still open.
Yeah, I have pre-ordered, and I will be playing so much when I'm not asleep. Or at work.
Yeah, so I think we've all had quite a lot of fun playing the demo. And the direct.
What about you? Are you pre-ordering it?
I actually haven't pre-ordered it yet. I've been thinking about pre-ordering it. I know you can get it on Amazon for probably the best price, although that doesn't come with any pre-order stuff additionally.
This is a point. The game's like 30 quid at retail.
Yeah, that's another thing. When I did have to sort of do a double take. When I looked on Amazon, I was like 30. Is that right? Is that?
Bear in mind, I got an amiibo, the game, and a T-shirt for 45.
See, it was at 50 quid on Amazon, but they dropped the price.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I think they realised.
Maybe that's why it's
pre-order amiibos from Amazon right now.
Maybe that's why it's the one of the best-selling Nintendo Wii U games on Amazon. Maybe because of the price. But yeah,
it is a full-price game in America. It's $60 there.
Yeah.
I think it's still worth that though.
UK 1, America 0. But yeah, I will have it by launch. Whether I pre-order it or I get it on the day it comes out, I haven't decided yet. But I definitely will be picking it up.
And everybody in this call is going to play some Splatoon together on that day.
Because you've downloaded the demo, you get 10% off on the eShop, making £31.85p or something.
Which is actually more expensive than Amazon.
By £2 for the ease of not having to change a disc.
Yeah, but you get a physical copy though.
Which you might accidentally sell when times get tough and you need to fund your amiibo.
Or just you when your times get tough. But yeah, so we're all gonna have a great time playing Splatoon, and we really enjoyed the demo. Hopefully, you knew about the test fire events and didn't miss them. If
you did,
you missed out.
You've only got. This goes up on Wednesday, right?
8.
Yeah.
What are you on about? It's Wednesday right now.
Sorry.
Yeah.
16 days.
15
or 16 days.
Don't
Comes
tell
out on
me.
the 29th. You should try it out.
Yeah.
It's gonna be real good.
So
if you can't, at least look at the reviews of it and make your own decision.
Yeah.
Look at Andy's video that's gonna.
What will even
no doubt we will put out a game glance on Splatoon and probably get you two involved in it.
Yeah, and I guess maybe even
content. We're gonna have permadeath content. Okay, you can't.
Maybe even.
Oh, okay. And
we're
permadeath.
It's permaspawn now, but we might even just put some gameplay throughout some parts of this podcast just to show you, get an idea if you haven't played it.
I
Just to
suggest
see
down
what
in,
it's
If you,
like.
down in the bottom
if you
right.
haven't seen any gameplay by now, Matt forgot to edit it in. So that happened.
Yeah, so that's something you can call me out on. But yeah, so we'll be getting it. Hopefully you are looking forward to it as well. But this has been episode 38 of the Spawn Point podcast. Thank you for joining me, all three of you.
Wait, should Kinross plug his stuff?
And you should plug your
Yeah,
stuff.
needs to
I don't want to touch any of my plugs. My content's crap. I haven't made any in a while.
You got to. That's not really how you sell yourself. Is
No, because I'm preparing them.
okay.
Preparing them.
Lower their expectations. Put them down to bring them up. I get it.
Yeah, bring them up. I make content less than Ebbie does. It's YouTube, Kinross07, Kinross07 anywhere. If you can't find me, you're just being bad at typing, basically. If you want your Twitter flooded, there's that as well.
And also,
yeah.
we do a podcast
Oh,
together
and Ebbie and
Permanent
I do a
podcast
podcast
with
together.
our friend Bill, and sometimes Yokorama and Kubo.
I have yet to do one with your grandma.
Now, you've yet to meet either of them.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you may have seen the Mario Kart 8 stuff they did because we were also there
Yes.
playing as
Yeah.
well.
if not, you could go and watch us.
Wait,
play.
that
was you?
Oh,
Dun, dun,
I mean-
dun.
I mean, if you didn't, it's youtube.com/permadeath podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the
Question mark.
Permadeath podcast or Permadeath podcast.
Let's
Look it
do
up.
Let's do some shit right now. Let's find it.
While they look that up, I'm going to look to the audience. Comment below and tell us what your favourite colour is. No.
youtube.com
Yeah.
/permapodcast. Permadeath
Permadeath.
podcast.
Permadeath.
Not permapodcast.
That's the Twitter.
That's the Twitter. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
This is why I don't plug things. I'm awful at it.
Basically, if you look up Permadeath Podcast on YouTube, you're bound to find it. If not, then we'll put it in the
We'll
description
just
so
put
you
a
can find
link
it easily.
below. How is
We'll
We'll
that?
just put a ginormous annotation that blinds you.
Which link? Toon link?
Every link.
Toon
Yeah.
link?
But yeah, this is...
Toon
this-
link?
Oh, God.
This
Well,
is the last spawn
this
point ever,
is-
guys. This
While-
is the last spawn point ever.
While we get an amiibo, overload of that, this has been episode 38. Goodbye from all of us. Annie's already gone, but goodbye, and we will
Sorry.
see you at the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.